drama. I like prison life. I am illegally blind artist that is rapping and painting for justice. Helping. Because you got to hold your breath for justice. To see justice before all face to black is hits your girl Cadillac. Anyways, guys, I am coming through today on July the 14th, 2025. I am extremely tired. It's almost 1 a.m. But I just had a long day. My car broke down. I was trying to do a video earlier. Um, it was just the most. And started out trying to clear out my storage, right? Because I'm trying to. Wait, baby, come on. Ma gonna be out there in a little bit, okay? Y'all, we may not be able to record long, but I do have a that's my granddaughter, and she wants me to come sit down and watch TV with her. I do have another wrongful conviction story that just crossed my algorithm. So I'm gonna bring it to you guys. I'm gonna attempt to read through this. I'm very tired because my granddaughter did have me up very late yesterday. And she's trying to get me to come on and hurry up so we can watch her little videos all night, girl. But I got work tomorrow. Okay, so wrongly convicted, he became the jailhouse lawyer and helped free himself. Okay, so this is from July 14th, 2025 at 12:38 p.m. So this was just published. Okay, and this is from, it says it's heard on Fresh Air, and I'm believing the journalist or whoever brought the story is Terry Gross. Okay, so this is the story of Calvin Duncan. Okay, Calvin Duncan was 19 in 1982 when the police arrested him for a Merc robbery in New Orleans. The eyewitness testimony at his trial was unreliable, but Duncan's lawyer offered only a minimal defense, and he was sentenced to life in prison. So there's two things I need to touch on: that eyewitness misidentification and prosecutorial misconduct. Those are the leading causes of wrongful conviction. So if y'all have been rolling with your girl for any time, y'all already know that. But that's for anyone that's coming into the channel. I cover a lot of wrongful convictions. After trying to advocate and fight for my husband, I realized that this was an almost impossible battle because people refuse to believe, let alone my husband's wrongfully incarcerated. They didn't believe it happens. It doesn't happen. And if it does, it's like a freak of nature, right? But it actually, in learning these stories, I come to find out that it happens quite often. And they actually, many of the wrongful conviction cases parallel each other. They're technically the same stories, the same kind of stories, same kind of charges. Usually in a wrongful conviction case, there's usually no tangible evidence that links the person wrongfully incarcerated to the crime that they're wrongfully incarcerated for. They have very parallel things that happen, and it's because I really do believe, my opinion, for entertainment purposes only, that wrongful convictions are purposefully wrongful convictions. And it's because of their practices, and they refuse to change the way that they handle these cases. I do have a video of showing each level of where a case can get tainted. Wrongful convictions start with wrongful arrest. So it starts there. Then it goes on to the prosecutors. They can taint with it right there. It goes on to the jury. They can taint, allegedly, a jury trial. They did in my husband's case. So they follow the same things but expect to get justice. Well, you can't follow bad practices and expect for the truth to come out, which verdict means truth, but there's only one truth. Okay, and then the second, minimum defense, that's also, in my husband's case, my husband is wrongfully incarcerated, but his defense put up no fight. It's like they kind of, it's like if you go into the fight, you gonna bring, like if you and someone was fighting, right? You gonna bring someone with you that's really gonna fight, like in a street fight or something like that. Like you're not gonna bring the person that is just gonna be like, oh, they gonna let you get hurt, they gonna let you get beat up, they gonna let whatever happen to you. That's what a lot of these defense lawyers do, especially allegedly when they're public defenders. It's almost like they throw the case. In my husband's case, he was unable, I wish he had a public defender. He was unable to have a public defender because they gave the public defender to my husband and to his cousin, which his cousin was basically, if y'all know the story, was on the opposite side of the story. So the public defender said he could not defend both sides. It's like I can't defend this one and that one, so I have to let someone go. So of course he let my husband go. That's when a special attorney comes in and he says he's a crime specialist, so they have to pay for a real like attorney when you cannot do like when something circumstances happen and the public defender cannot defend you. Well, I believe because he was a private attorney, he had more funds to actually, he used his own money to build a case against my husband. The public defender wouldn't have had the money to build that case. And actually, he basically won the case because nobody showed up to press charges and they were supposed to let my husband go. But he said, but wait, Judge, wait, before you let my client go. And that's when he took the reins and used his own money and asked for reimbursements to go drag the people to testify, like basically force them to testify against my husband. And I don't think he would have been able to do any of that had he been a public defender on public defender funds. But because he had his own disposable money, he fought against my husband in disguise of fighting for him. But he had more funds to do so. But yeah, they'll throw the case. So it says offered only, and then the thing was, my husband's case was such an easy case. It's open and freaking shut. There's no evidence with that as well. If I didn't say that before, is a parallel in wrongful convictions. There's usually no tangible evidence linking the person to what they're being wrongfully convicted of. But there was no evidence. It was an easy case. The case would have gotten dropped had he not. But it says Duncan's lawyer offered a minimum defense and he was sentenced to life in prison. While in prison, that's what I say, on wrongful conviction, my husband got 40 years, but I have to be grateful because they were giving out life zealously, just handing it out like it was nothing. So just grateful that he doesn't have life. Okay. While in prison, Duncan studied law, hoping to appeal his case. In the process, he became a jailhouse lawyer, officially as a part of the Inmate Counsel Substitute Program at the Louisiana State Penitentiary in Angola. We're starting to hear a lot more right now in the news about Angola. And that's where Corey Miller, he also maintains his innocence. My covering other wrongful conviction stories actually started with Corey Miller because I had been fighting my husband's case so long in his story. And I actually, some information that I gathered, my husband gave it to somebody and it actually got him back into court. But it never benefited us. So I realized that, maybe this has to be a purpose bigger than us. It can't be for us because in no way am I helping my husband, right? But maybe I went through all this to help someone else. But yeah, that's where my playlist starts with Corey Miller covering his wrongful conviction story because I'm like, just hear the person out. There's many people saying, no, he's guilty, he did do that, he did do that. Just knowing the system. See, I don't know if anybody's innocent or guilty, but I do know this system, and I do know what this system produces, right? And I know how it goes and how many people are wrongfully incarcerated. So I say just hear the person out. The worst that you can find out is that you can find out that they are guilty. But what if you found out they were innocent? See, they don't want to hear these cases, honestly, because they don't ever want them to come back up. They shut these cases thinking that was it. It's over. These people ain't got the resources. They ain't got the reach. They ain't got the voice, just like myself, to get none of this overturned. So this will never come back to haunt us. And that's how they put these people away, our loved ones away, with that knowing that they'll never get this overturned. Okay. In places like Louisiana, once a conviction is upheld on direct appeal, we're not entitled to a lawyer, Duncan says. Jailhouse lawyers actually provide legal assistance to those individuals that cannot afford attorney. Actually, they usually do a better job too, allegedly. Duncan worked on hundreds of cases while he was in prison. There are guys that committed their crimes. There are guys that didn't commit their crimes, he says. As a jailhouse lawyer, we provided assistance to everybody that we determined was not afforded a fair trial, which most times you won't. The most fairest trial you're going to get, you're going to have plenty of money to get the fairest trial. But, hold on, I was about to say something right there. Oh, many that are guilty of their crimes still are actually, I don't know if you call it a wrongful conviction, but they're sentenced outside of what they should. So excessive sentencing, I actually do consider that to be a wrongful conviction. But on the books, they may not consider it a wrongful conviction. But the thing is, when you commit the same crime as someone else and they sentence you far above what you were supposed to be sentenced, I myself believe that's a wrongful conviction. That happens in a lot of people's cases as well. Because a person does a crime, you're supposed to give them a punishment that is allotted to the crime. Equal time for equal crime. You can't have a crime that's here and you get sentenced up here. And they do it the opposite as well. When you work with them, when you give up information, even when you don't have information, if they come to you and allegedly be like, if you work with us, we'll cut you a deal. You may have done something way up here, but then you get a sentence down here. This is why our system really is not conducive of safety. See, the reason why most people support this system, this is my opinion, is because we want to be safe. We don't like crime. We want to feel safe in our neighborhoods. But if they're locking up the wrong people, they're letting other people that just negotiated a deal go that actually did commit the crime, you're not, you're forfeiting the safety of the neighborhood. So we're upholding something that is really not working. I've likened it to many things like a parachute that you think is there, and then you go to jump and it doesn't open, it doesn't work. Or it's many, I can't come up with them right now, but there's many examples of it. And this is what it really is to us. I also have another video that I liken the justice system to a narcissistic relationship. It wears a mask. My opinion, it wears a mask. If you've had any interaction with a narcissist, they come across as someone that is doing something good for you, when in all actuality is usually the direct opposite. And they're doing only what benefits them. It's inverted. And then they turn it on you. They turn everything on you. So I do have a video with that, comparing our relationship with the justice system to a narcissistic relationship. If I can find that, I'll link that. Sometimes I don't know because I'll be behind on my links. Okay, one of the biggest challenges Duncan faced was obtaining public records. I used to donate my plasma, wow, just to save enough money to buy my records, he says. Duncan helped many fellow inmates overturn their convictions after years of trying to get his own reopened. See, just what I said, helping others, that usually, because if you look at it through spiritual eyes, it's not fair, and I serve a God of justice, right? So it's not fair for you to be in prison for something you didn't do. So it has to have purpose. It has to have meaning, just like Joseph. It has to be for a bigger good. So he too was helping people get free, but couldn't help himself in the beginning. Okay. After years of trying to get his own case reopened, Duncan finally succeeded with the help of the Innocence Project. Yes, it's going to take someone outside yourself. Before my husband's case ever gets cracked and open, I need some, I need help. I need, it's like, it's only so much one person can do. I have done a lot. I have done a lot. But I can't overturn a case on my own. It's gonna take a team, and I have been praying that God does send my destiny helpers, right? Because I know that He knows there's nothing more. Honestly, it's not too much more that I can do on my own. I need a support system. I need, like the Innocence Project, or there's other places. I need, if the story could get big enough, Innocence Project would come forward and try to help. But as it is, with him, he's just another person, another number. I mean, there's so many people wrongfully incarcerated. So what makes his wrongful conviction story, more important than the next wrongful conviction story? So, okay, with the help of the Innocence Project of New Orleans in 2011, he was released from prison after serving more than 28 years. I tell you, it don't take no less. It don't. If they let my husband go tomorrow, he would have done 23 years wrongfully. His conviction could be considered a short wrongful conviction. Valentino Dixon, 27 years wrongfully. Um, Kevin Strickland, 42 years wrongfully incarcerated. Don't forget about those. And they exonerated a couple of post mortem dealing with Malcolm X, the deletion of Malcolm X. There were wrongful convicted people behind that, which means the people that actually did delete Malcolm X, I don't know, I guess they lived their life. And then I believe it was two of them. I can't remember the numbers. There's a documentary on that. One or two of them that were exonerated post-mortem. Also, um, I believe another wrongful conviction story, Marcellus Williams, who we were advocating for heavily. I have never seen such a movement behind somebody, and he had newly discovered evidence, and before even hearing his newly discovered evidence, they deleted him. Even after all the outpouring and crying for his life, they put the buggy, they put the buggy before the horse, and they went on and deleted him. They still need to hear his evidence so that he can be exonerated post-mortem, because the truth needs to be out so people can know. It's like a sleeping bear. Y'all don't know. It could be your son next. It could be your cousin next. It could be your husband. It could be your father. It could be your grandson. Any of them. We need to put a stop to this. It's been going on. It's been destroying many lives. And it silently does it. Because we don't have them. Y'all think the justice system is where you correct these things. It's not. It doesn't work like that. Following his release, Duncan went to college and got his BA from Tulane. This past spring, at 60, he received his law degree from the Lewis and Clark University in Oregon. He now lives in New Orleans, where he's the founder and director of the Light of Justice, which works to improve access to the courts for people who are incarcerated. Going back to help people that need help, and I wish many of the lawyers were actually, I believe much, my opinion, much of the criminal justice, like attorneys, they're in it for the money. They're one of the highest paid lawyers, right? And none of them, honestly, like other lawyers, they'll do the work, and then if they lose the case, then the case is, and if they win, then that's when you pay. A criminal lawyer don't do nothing like that. It's money. And you got to have a lot of money for what they call justice. How does justice have a price tag? That doesn't even make sense. Justice is supposed to already be afforded to us because we're citizens of this country. We're supposed to be treated justly. But we got to pay to be treated justly. Does that make any sense? Like, let's think of something free, but saying you have to pay for something free. Like air. What if we had to all of a sudden start having to pay for air? We're already paying for water. It doesn't make sense to call it justice, but only those with the deep pockets get it. But that's how it is. But I wish many of them were actually there to actually fight for people's rights and for people's lives, and actually fought as though it was their loved one or themselves that was on trial. We would have a completely different system. We really would. It's funny how people withhold justice that they would clearly want if it happened to them. It's like I got that rap song. And what if it was you? And you were up the road and gone for something you didn't do. And it be decades when you get back home. Hey, what if it was you that were taken from your kids? Now they life you missing. Your lucky stars, you better thank them that you ain't in this wicked system. The Lord knows that it could have been, yeah, it could have been you. Yeah, it's your girl Cadillac.